Cool. So, right, I'll do it this time. So, welcome to this segment two of the football referee with myself, Emmy Hickins, and he calls me bruv.
And me, Trevor Gear, and he calls me Bruv.
Yeah, he calls
And
me cuz.
and we call Tony the Enforcer.
Hello,
Yeah,
everyone. Welcome back to section two.
yeah. Right, okay. So, um, let's start with the rules again because there's something that we missed at the last one from the last rule. So this is rules that FIFA had made for the for this World Cup. Maybe it's a carry on, but I think we've talked about some of it. But it says players have 10 seconds to leave the pitch when subbed. If not, their team will play with 10 men for a full minute. I think we talked about that one. And then this one says referees can start a 5-second countdown for throw-ins and goal kicks. If exceeded, possession is overturned. So I think we talked about that one as well. I thought it was 8 seconds. Is it 5 seconds?
5 seconds, yeah.
5 seconds, yeah. Now, this is the one that we've not talked about. It says players who cover their mouths when confronting an opponent will receive a red card.
Mm,
That's
right.
new, isn't it?
Interesting.
That one's new.
Yeah. Now, we're no stranger to how that must have started, are we? Vinicius Junior against that is it AC Milan? One of the players anyway. I can't remember the
Yeah.
game now. But it was a UCL match, wasn't it?
Mm.
And this guy covered his mouth and he muffled something under his shirt.
Mm.
And I think he was sent off. I think he
Yeah.
was sent off, yeah. Right. So what do we make of that in the World Cup?
Yeah, I feel like it's good in a sense that so if there are some abuse coming from each other's sides, at least we
Mhm.
can, because there are very good lip readers in this world.
Mm,
They can
Yeah.
actually, they'll be able to see what he said and like, yeah, he said this, either send him off or not.
mm,
Uh, but in sometimes when you don't want the fans to hear between some players talking, it's
mm,
it's good sometimes in the sense to
mm,
to cover the mouth so we don't, because at the end of the day there are some privacy things that some players are going through that obviously we don't know, so they
mm,
don't want everybody else to know as well.
mm,
So
mm,
in those type of cases, I would say
mm,
it's fine. But when it comes to game time, especially when it's game time, uh,
mhm,
if there's abuse being thrown around,
mhm,
especially not just from the player side, it's also from the fan side because sometimes the fans can influence the players as well in some cases.
mm, mm,
I'm not going to say which fans they are from which country, but uh, there's always we can you can always tell which
mm,
fans they are.
mm,
So you know, especially in those games, uh, it's good to be able to see what they're saying because, yeah, uh, we might not understand them sometimes,
mm,
especially if they're speaking a different language.
mm,
But it's also good to at least be able to see what they're saying. Because
mm,
like I said, between Vinicius and that player, we don't exactly know exactly what
Mm.
he said. He said, "Oh
mm,
no, I didn't say this." Vinny says he said this, so
mm,
it's going back. He said, she said type of situation when we really want to get down to brass tacks. Okay, what did you say? We can see what you said, and at the end of the day, this is the punishment you get for what you said. So
mm,
at least that way we know. So if
mm,
his punishment is correct, we can say, okay, yeah, you did a good job. If it's not correct, we can say, okay, you know what, we saw the footage, we can rectify this problem that we made. So
mm,
that way, in a sense, it's good because that way it'll get the game flowing a bit better and it will just clear up some mistakes. Because at the end of
mm,
the day, these are what a lot of these like rules have come in for. Like when
mm,
the ball goes out, VAR can say, okay, you know what, it came off a so-and-so player, give it back to it should be a corner or goal kick.
Yeah.
So
mm,
this is the whole point of why VAR was brought in for, to fix up mistakes. So this is another incident where we made a mistake or we didn't make a mistake. At the end of the day, we don't really know what happened. So this will make sure this is black and white. We can see what this is, and we will rectify this or we will sort this out, to make everybody's life easier.
Yes. And just before I come to you, bro, I was just thinking now when you was talking, Tony, you went if they did like that, which is normal, right? Uh, covered just for audio description there, you covered your hands, you covered your mouth with your hands. Now the players, I think what they're targeting, I might be wrong, might be players covering their mouth with their shirt. Now, how do you differentiate that? Because sometimes you want to say, for instance, you want to take a free kick and you don't want the opponents to know, which way you want to take it or what style or, whether you're going to jump over the ball and you go like that to your teammate. That could be classed as
Yeah.
covering your mouth as well. And bruv, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very good rule, and it's an interesting question you've just raised. But I guess if if as they often happens, a free kick, you get the two attackers, one of whom's going to take the kick. They do that, as we know, when they walk off the pitch, they're doing
Mm,
that. They don't want to be lip read, so to speak.
mm,
Um, I think it's a very good rule because if you actually ask yourself in the course of a game, in game time, as Tony used that expression,
mm,
when would one player ever want to say something to an opponent during the match and put a hand over his mouth? I mean, they're not mates. Even if they are, they're not going to be necessarily doing that.
mm,
So, in other words, if they do that, you could perhaps have a pretty good bet they're saying something offensive, something they shouldn't be saying. So, as
mm,
long as they all know the rule, you don't say something to somebody and put your hand over your mouth. I
mm,
mean, as Tony said, there's lots of different languages out there on the football pitch. If you were
mm,
that aggrieved with someone who keeps fouling you, you you could quietly say something in a different language to that player, and they wouldn't understand what you said anyway. But then I suppose that would defeat the object of saying anything. But on
mm,
balance, I think it's a good thing because it will cut out. Clearly, the real risk is maybe some racist comment here and there. So if it
mm,
stops all that and the players
mm,
know they're going to be sent off if they do that, then it can only be good as far as I'm
mm,
concerned.
mm, mm. Yeah. Well, what is it? Now, there's rule number 4. Players who leave the pitch in protests will receive a red card. Teams who do the same will forfeit the match.
Well,
Now, we know what that's referencing, don't we? It's
yeah.
referencing the Senegal and Morocco. Is it Morocco?
Yeah.
Yeah, Senegal, Morocco. What do we make of that?
Well, yeah, well, we try to keep it as civil as we can.
Mm,
At the end of the day, football should be about the game,
mm,
and if there are stuff like referees and stuff like that getting mixed up with politics like that, I feel like they shouldn't really be referees then in that sense of situation where a
mm,
player has to go and make a protest about when he comes off the pitch, or we're
mm,
like in the same situation, the whole team is angry because this referee is making some stupid mistakes is intentionally not letting them get what they want.
mm,
So it's okay in a sense. We shouldn't, like I said, we shouldn't really be able to, like, the players shouldn't really have to protest in a sense of that because at the end of the day, it should be fair game. That's the whole point of having a referee that's from a different, almost. Is it like the referees from a different continent to officiate a match or something like that? So
mm,
in that way, they can't really be biased in a sense. Of course,
mm,
there are some referees who are biased,
mm,
uh, but at the end of the day, they should be completely neutral in a sense.
mm, mm,
So if you can't always cut it out, but as much as we can try cut it out, it's not going to be easy. Uh,
mm,
but at the end of the day, referees, I kind of feel like it does a lot of it does stem from the referee. I'm not trying to say it's completely referee's fault, But at the time, a lot of these players are protesting because either it's not going in their favor or it's either completely unbiased. I remember when, for just a quick experience, Ian Wright, he was playing in Arsenal at the time, and I can't remember, it's a well-known referee, and he goes, that day, he had it for me. And he openly said, I have it for you. Because I think at the time, Ian Wright was just going on his nerves or something like that. That's what he was saying. And he goes, the fouls he was getting, those should be red cards easily. But no, the referee saying, play on. And he went on and on and on. And on the third one, I think third or fourth one, he said, oh, don't worry, ref, I understand, play on. So in those type of cases, this is where it's saying it's stemming from the referee, because obviously he had a bias. He didn't like that particular player. And obviously, I mean, at the time, they didn't really protest in that time of football. But now a lot of these players have the media platforms and stuff like that, so they can protest. So this is why I say we should try keep neutral as much as we can. So, and on top of that, if it's a big player, let's say Ronaldo is protesting, of course the whole team is going to say, you know what, we're sticking with Ronaldo. We're coming off the pitch too as well, So it's a tough one, but it should be a rule in force, because like I said, in that way, if the player's not protesting, it kind of makes it seem that, okay, this is a fair game then,
Yeah. Bruv?
Yeah, I mean, on one of the points Tony made about where referees come from, I was really surprised in the opening match, Mexico, South Africa. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. The ref was either Brazilian or Argentinian. Now, we can perhaps check that at some point. And I remember thinking, well, that's a bit dicey because, there may be rivalries. I mean, a bit like, say, England and Scotland. I know we're all in the same UK, but South America, who's to say that a Brazilian isn't going to be biased against a Mexican footballer? And it was either Brazilian. I think it was Brazilian, the ref, otherwise Argentinian, but we can check that out. But I was really surprised because I would have thought at the very least the ref should come from somewhere in North America or Europe. So that was one that seemed to go against the grain. As for this rule about protests and teams or individuals walking off, I think quite rightly FIFA are covering this base because this is only really, to my knowledge, I mean, when Senegal and Morocco had that game, that situation was pretty much unheard of, where a team refuses to play on and they all troop off. Maybe there are other examples, but not, I would have thought, at a high level of the game. Some say Senegal should have ended up being the champions, which they technically were not. But so I suppose FIFA reacted with alarm, thinking, my God, we can't afford our festival of world football for a team or an individual, but certainly a team, to suddenly say, no, we're not putting up with this, either from the ref or the crowd, comments from the crowd or from other players. You cannot have a team taken off the pitch, or going off the pitch protesting, short of there being a riot and the ref takes them off. That's different. But no, if a team decides to go off as a protest about anything, I think absolutely they should forfeit the game. Now, that's not to say there wouldn't be some pretty horrible events leading up to a team, a manager saying, right, everybody off. But it could happen. And once it's happened once, it could happen again. So I think it's right that FIFA are jumping in and saying, no, if anyone does this, these are the penalties. So, yeah, I think it's a very good thing.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about the disrepute it would bring to the to the game as well, having I mean, I watched the one with Morocco and Senegal, and I wasn't quite impressed with the way the whole thing went, but I at least it brought something to the spotlight, and it highlighted a problem, something that
Yeah,
could
absolutely.
potentially be a problem on the world stage. Now, the fifth and final one, I think we've talked about in the past, but There's one addition there that I don't think we talked about. So VAR can check one, second yellow cards, which we've talked about, and then it says corner decisions, which we've just talked about. But then it says it can check mistaken identity. Now that's thrown me off a little bit. Mistaken identity, how does that come into the equation?
Well, there have been quite a few times over the years
Hmm.
that the ref ends up booking the wrong player or even sending off the wrong player. I mean, I can't specifically remember the details of any one, but I know
Hmm.
players have been sent off pleading their innocence. It wasn't me, Gov, it wasn't me, ref. And they've still,
Yeah.
no, off you go. So I think it's unlikely and it's unusual, but it does happen. So
Right.
if it does, I think VAR is there to make sure that justice prevails.
Yeah, Tony.
And we've already seen it in one match where it was saying mistaken identity. I
All
think it
right.
was supposed to be I can't remember the match now, but it was the most. I think it was Brazil or Morocco. It was a big match, like one of the big ones we're playing, and the player just fell, completely fell. Like he said, like the one player he was fouled him. I mean, his leg was stretched out, but it was nowhere near to the point where he tripped him and he fell over. He literally just
Mm,
flopped to the ground and was like, "Oh, I've been touched." Oh, you know, and then in the end, it was overturned to saying, "Okay, that's not a foul." You know, so
mm, mm.
it is working now. But there are times where, like Trevor said, there are players getting banned for absolutely no reason, and we've seen it.
Mm.
You know, you'd be like, there'll be two players arguing. One player will come up to the ref, maybe try to influence, saying, "Oh, my boy is here. He's right," And
Mm,
then in the end, it's
mm,
like, red, red, red. He's like, "What am I getting the red for?" you know. So in a sense, it is good because that way, if you're just sending off a player because he came up to you and you said, "Oh, he also did it," even though he
Mm.
wasn't, you're
mm.
affecting the game. You are infecting the
Yeah.
game in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right. Okay. So the next one is the Somalian referee or Somali referee, Omar Artan, will receive his full FIFA World Cup tournament fee despite being denied entry into the United States, according to reports. Now, we don't know the detail. I don't know the details. Maybe one of you does, but I don't know the details. It might have been politically motivated. We're not making any assumptions, but should he get full pay?
Well, again, it probably depends on the circumstances. If he's been banned, I saw there was a player who was, well, I think Thomas Partey is a player who's banned now because of a criminal conviction, a failed appeal. So that's one example. I wasn't aware of this referee, but again, it depends why he's been banned. I mean, America generally doesn't allow people in if you've got a criminal conviction. Now, sometimes that may seem harsh if it's something technical, if you like. So maybe this was along those lines. But if the ref concerned did have a more serious criminal conviction,
Mm,
which maybe should have been declared earlier or something like that, then it is a bit hard to see why he or she, I guess, but it's probably a man in this case, why they
mm,
should receive their full pay. So I think without knowing the whys and wherefores of what that was about, why that person
mm,
was banned, it's hard
mm,
to know whether it's a justified payment, really, I'd have thought.
mm. True, true. Yeah, the enforcer.
Uh, yeah. Apparently, the links and this is complete rumors that it was links to terrorism.
Oh, right.
That's obviously we don't know the full story. These are
We
what the
don't know the
rumors.
enforcer.
But
No,
I agree with Trevor in a sense that he shouldn't really deserve to get the pay because that's like saying
mm,
you work at a construction site, but you had a day off. So everybody's working that full day. Why, in a sense, even though you didn't really work that, why are you getting a full day like wage in a sense?
mm,
You're not at the tournament. Why are you getting paid your wage even though you weren't there? You know,
mm,
it's not really
Mm,
fair because there are referees who's getting abused. First of all, they get abused all the time, not just by the
mm,
players, by the fans,
mm,
and they have to do it for the entire tournament, which is not just one day or one
mm,
week. It's
mm.
literally the entire tournament. and they're in the sun. They're running up and down the pitches too, just like the players. But this one, a referee didn't get his visa, whatever, sorted out, and he gets to relax at home and get all of it.
Yeah.
Which is completely, it's not fair. It's not fair at all. You know,
Yeah.
if that was me and I was a referee who was in that heat, running up and down with the players, getting abused, I would be fairly annoyed because I'm here doing my job, and you're at home on, you know, on your sofa or wherever watching the match, getting paid. You know, that's not fair at all.
Yeah. But do you think being denied a spot in the spotlight, do you think that's enough to warrant? Do you think that's enough to merit him getting paid? Because if he was there, obviously everybody would it would be added to his CV. It would raise his profile. Maybe that's compensation for that. I don't know.
I mean, I think also, as we say, we don't know the reason, but I know of a case, of sort of a friend of mine going back about 7 or 8 months, was he booked up to go to New York for a few days with his 2 daughters. I mean, they were both late teenagers, early 20s. Now, initially, I believe both of the girls, they were refused ESTAs, which are the things you need to go to the United States. Their dad got it okay, but there was no explanation given. Now, as I say, this is probably 6 or 9 months ago, because they then applied. They could apply again, I think, after 6 months, and that time they both got them. So there was never an explanation as to why these ESTAs weren't given. Yes, as we say, if someone had a criminal conviction, which they didn't, nothing of the sort. There was just no explanation. Their holiday, they had to cancel it. They lost money on the deposit and everything else. But they have subsequently got those ESTAs, and I believe they're going in the next couple of months. So again, that's a possibility. People don't always know why they've been turned down for admission to the States. America generally is pretty strict. And anyone who goes through their airports, you know, you have your fingerprints taken and all the usual stuff, and they're pretty strict on it, which they should be. I mean, that's I suppose 9/11 made it even more strict for them, quite rightly. But yeah, it may be they don't know why the ref was refused entry. You'd have thought with somebody at that level with these World Cup games, there would have been an explanation. So maybe they know why it was, but it could be they were never told. So maybe, you know, out of sympathy, they said, well, we'll pay you anyway.
Okay. Fair explanation. Now, earlier we talked about Lionel Messi as being a lazy sort of player. I didn't share that. I wasn't in agreement with both of you. But
you should have done it this way. You should have said he's a lazy player. we could have sent you off then.
Then I would have got a red card then. Yeah. But this is Bradley Barcola, French player. He says, we will do, this was before the game last night. He says, we will do everything to help Kylian Mbappe score. He can really become the all-time World Cup scorer this tournament. It's an honor for France to have such a player. Now, he's saying we will do everything to feed him the ball. Yeah, we'll do all the legwork, just make sure we get the ball to this Mbappe guy. Does that not put him in a class of Messi in a way? According to this guy, is that not what they've done with him? Feed him the ball, make sure he scores.
Of course,
Tony?
in a sense, yeah, it's great that you want to do that, but I've always gone in a disagreement with that. Like, you always want to try feed that player don't you want to make your own name? You know, yes, you got all these great players. They made the name for themselves, but don't you want to be part of that legacy in a sense? I've always seen it as it's a good concept in a sense. It inspires the players, you know, it gets them going. But at the end of the day, it's like a double-edged sword, you know. It's great for one side, but the other side, you know, it's coming back to you as well. It's football isn't just the Ronaldo show or the Messi show. It's also you. You are a player, you know? So make your own legacy there in whatever club, in international, wherever. Just make your own name. Because at the end of the day, would, metaphorically speaking, would that player do the same for you in a sense? Because that's how I always see things in some certain aspects of it. Like, okay, you're saying I want to do this for this player, but would they really do that for you in a sense? Because obviously some players have characters. Like Zlatan was always like, "Oh, I am the god," I am Zlatan, But off the pitch, he was the nicest guy on the planet, He still is. But sometimes characters can influence in things in the game, in a sense. Another player who was like that was Kobe Bryant in basketball. He was always had that character, and in a sense, he made his own name for it as well. But there's also other players, like I keep going back. Make your own name. It's great that you want to have this, and like I said, it can be inspiring in some cases. But I've always seen it as it's a double-edged sword. It can come back to you too, if I'm using that analogy right. Double-edged sword. Yeah.
Double-edged sword, yeah. Can come back to starve you or cut you. Bruv.
Yeah, I think that's quite an interesting one, because the first thing that sort of comes to mind is, as a team, you want to play to your strengths. That's the first obvious thing. And if you know you've got an excellent player up front or in midfield, but you think, yeah, let's get the ball to him because he generally will do something good, he'll score or whatever. So you sort of understand that. I take Tony's point about players should actually also be playing for themselves as well as the team. But it comes about also by saying that publicly. We all know what's going to happen. It happened anyway, I guess. The opponents will always be double marking Mbappe because of what one of his colleagues has said. Oh, yeah, we want to give everything to Mbappe and he'll do the business. Well, he did do very well last night in the second half, as we know. But that wasn't necessarily because the team were focused on getting the ball to him. We know that another player, if you get the ball somewhere near him, he'll score, and that's Harry Kane. And I don't really think the rest of the team need to think, well, we just better find Harry, because when you look at the way Harry Kane plays, he's actually very mobile. Talk about Messi and others who are lazy. He's all over the shop, really, and in a very positive way. He'll come back, especially if he's not getting much action, very quickly he'll say, well, I'm going to come back and get the ball myself. He'll always get on the end of a decent cross or free kick. You don't have to think, where's Harry? Because he'll be there. He's got that magical instinct of where to be. That football brain tells him where to be when he sees a corner coming, a free kick, or just a cross. So, of course, the players know it's in their nature to know, get the ball to Harry Kane. But I don't think you need to say it. And I think maybe in Mbappe's case, what Tony was saying earlier about the going to Real Madrid, and he didn't perhaps quite shine as much. And I'm sure for many players in a situation where they've been transferred for huge amounts of money, it's the weight of expectation. I've got to sort of justify this fee, even if they're not consciously thinking that. And we've seen that, I mean, in the early days for Isak at Liverpool, he wasn't doing too much. And of course, then he got injured. But the weight of expectation on a player can hamstring a lot of players. But you see Harry Kane, it never stopped him. He just became brilliant. Let's hope he is tonight. Sorry, Tony, but let's hope Harry is doing really well. Another player who had a lot of expectation on him was Michael Olise, who left Palace. We found him in Reading, and he sort of came good under Oliver Glasner. We lost him then, sadly, to Bayern. And he's now really a global superstar. His assists, I mean, 2 assists last night. He's a fantastic footballer who hasn't worried about the weight of expectation was upon him. But many players do worry about that. So yeah, I don't think it's a good thing for any colleague of Mbappe to say, yeah, we've got to get the ball to him, because you almost, I mean, it's obvious, but you're giving away your own tactics, that you're going to be bending your play at all times to get the ball through to him. And maybe he won't, because he'll be heavily marked, as he always is, he won't be able to do the business, partly because he's been highlighted by a colleague. So, yeah, just play the game. A good player will always get himself in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, Spain played, but the
Yeah.
highlight or the spotlight was stolen by a goalkeeper instead. Vozinha, I think it's called, for Cape Verde. Now, they seem to talk about his 40-year-old, is what did Spain do wrong in that? Because we know Spain is a really good footballing country. What happened there?
In my opinion, I feel like they've strongly misjudged Cape Verde because they didn't put Raya in net, the best goalkeeper they have. They didn't put Yamal on straight away. They kept all like their top players on the bench because they as automatically assumed, oh, we're going to win this by 3-0, and then come second half, we're going to get extra goals. And I feel like that's a strong misjudge on their part because as we've seen Scotland versus Haiti, and I'll be honest, Haiti really surprised me. I did not expect them to turn up how they did that day. And it's just unlucky that they didn't get the goals. They had the chances, but unfortunately either hit the bar or something. So this is the thing about the World Cup, is that we can't always misjudge teams that we think, you know what? Yeah, 5-0 instantly, right? So this is why we can't be like Spain that day. We can't always misjudge these teams because at the end of the day, they have a lot to prove. Like that same thing with Croatia back in 2018. We were smaller than what we are now. We still had all these great, like the golden generation that we called it, but we didn't expect really to shine as we did during that tournament. And a lot of the teams that we went against, they all completely mistook us, and it cost them dearly. So it's the same thing with Spain, with Cape Verde, what they did. And obviously, honestly, credit to that goalkeeper because I watched it when I was in the gym and I was watching the match there. It was absolutely brilliant.
It
Like
was, yeah.
I was thinking, we need this guy at Man United as well as LeBron. I was like, we need this keeper with us. He was absolutely brilliant, and for
It
his age
was.
as well. For his age, to be stretched out like how he
Yeah.
was, and to like, it's. I mean, I'm 27 now, and I'm just like, oh, like when I'm stretching or anything, I'm like, oh, that one's a bit overstretched. Imagine him, and I don't really know what club he plays for, but it's it's a tough gig, especially when you get older in age, doing all these things. It does have a toll, and he did
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant that game.
He
Honestly,
did.
hats off.
Absolutely. I'd love to know what his diet is. Bruv. Yes, please, bruv.
Yeah. What can you say about that goalkeeper? He was out of this world, wasn't he? His determination, and he kept them all out. I happen to think that so far was the result, the game of the tournament for a result. As I said before, we tend to think of maybe dare I say, the Panamas, the Cape Verdes, the Haitis as, oh, well, they're going walkovers for the teams. And of course, they're not. Every World Cup seems to make this point more and more, that the so-called lesser teams I mean, Cape Verde, I think, has a population of 500,000. Now, that's nothing compared to Spain, who they drew 0-0 with. I mean, it's a bit like, I'm trying to think of an example. I mean, a pal of mine is years-long season ticket holder at Sutton. Now, Sutton, they went up to League Two and they'd gone back down to the National League, and they stayed in that last season. But they've got a great history of giant killings going back Coventry and Leeds, etc. So they're a good little side, Sutton. But it's a bit like Sutton drawing 0-0. And this is no disrespect to Sutton. I probably shouldn't be using them as an example. But them drawing 0-0 with Man City or Arsenal, and you think,
Mm,
wow, how did that work? And I think this is that equivalent because Spain are right up there, really, with the bookmakers in terms of, I think, France, Spain, and then we're about fifth, I think, but we're still in front of Brazil and some other teams there. But yeah, that's an incredible result, and yeah, it has to be in large part down to that amazing goalkeeper. If Cape Verde do knighthoods, I think he should get a double one, whatever happens next, because he was phenomenal. Strangely, when
mm,
you get a result like that, and it may hopefully won't happen this time, but in the next game that team gets thrashed by someone else in the group. You know, they lose 6-0. And that
mm,
strangely, that does happen. It's almost like they put so much into this game against, the world champions. It's
mm.
it's phenomenal what they did. And I'm not sure. I mean, I read limited press on my phone. I don't ever read the press, I don't buy newspapers, so I don't really know what they've said about this. But I don't get the feeling from TV, at least, that they've been sufficiently praised for what a result that was. It was incredible. I mean, it must have destroyed thousands of accumulator football bets, mustn't it? Who would have put 0-0?
Oh
No,
yeah.
I think you can safely say nobody,
Nobody.
nobody. So the bookmakers made a fortune on that, I expect. But yeah, 0-0 with Spain is an incredible result, and I for one will be very keen to see their next result. And I'm sure, hopefully, they'll do well again. Incredible
Yeah.
result.
Yeah, it was a really good result, even though it ended the goalless. But yeah, both sides. Yeah. Now England. So we're playing tonight, and guess who we're playing? Croatia. Right. Let's start with you. Let's start with you, Tony. Predictions.
I've said before, it's either going to be a draw
Okay.
or a 1-goal win
Yeah.
or a
In favor
mistake,
of.
whichever. I'm not bothered.
Oh, okay.
Like I
Okay.
said, this is like my honest opinion. I feel like it'll be a draw or a
All
one
right.
goal win or a mistake that's come from either side, and
Mm,
that one goal will probably be it for the rest of the game. So,
mm.
like I said, it's either one of those three of my predictions that's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anyone in our group played already? Do we
No,
know? Ghana.
No, I
it's the
think,
first game.
So we'll be the
uh,
first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, bruv.
Well, I think I go with Tony, and I think it'll be a draw. I mean, I hate to think England could lose. I think until we really see how his Tuchel's team plays, because he's not really, apart from the other day, he's not played the team that he's playing tonight. We won't
Mm,
really know how well together they are. But yeah, I just know Croatia are a good side. You
mm,
know, the more so than some of the sides now we say are getting better and better. They've been good for a long time. So I put it this way. I hate to say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do lose by the odd goal.
Mm.
But I will predict a draw at 2-2.
mm. Okay. Okay. That's 2-2. I'm going straight down for a win. England trash and 3-0. Boom. Job done. Job's a good in. As they say in Yorkshire. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Now, the Man of the Match awards, right? So for France, who would you give to? Who would you give the Man of the Match award to for
I'd
France?
say I'd say Michael Elise. I
Okay.
think he was the man of the match, definitely.
It was definitely the Man of the Match, yeah. And Tony, who would you give it to?
I'll be honest, I didn't really watch the match, so
No, no.
I can't give my opinion on
Yeah.
who should have been it.
Okay. That's fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. What about Norway? That's what's his name? Erling Haaland's
Yeah.
country. Yeah, okay, yeah. Who would you give it to?
I'll give it to the Iraqi player who scored the first goal because I
Right.
mean I know Norway won, but
Yes.
out of the determination and how Iraq played throughout the entire game, uh,
Yeah.
I would give it to that. Like I said, I can't remember the name, but
Yeah.
he was absolutely brilliant that game.
I didn't even know Iraq was in the World Cup. I thought it was just Iran.
That's Iraq as well.
Yeah, bro. Who would you give it to?
Yeah,
Norway,
I
Iraq?
would go with Haaland. I think he scored two of the goals. I think he deserves that because he's so good at picking
Hmm.
off the goals. So I go with
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Well, there's no telling who the Argentina one would be, would you?
Mm.
Who would you give it to?
I wouldn't do.
I'd have to give
Yeah,
it to Messi because he scored
it
three
was.
goals.
It was Messi. Yeah, it was Messi.
Yeah,
So you can't give it to anybody else. This is like,
No.
yeah,
yeah.
Messi,
Yeah.
Messi. Now, what about the Netherlands match? Who would you give it to? Now, there's two contenders there. I don't actually know who you went to, but two contenders, Lukaku and the former Manchester City brought Kevin De Bruyne.
For
My friend,
Netherlands, I'm sure it's
Net
Belgium, no?
Yeah,
oh,
he's Belgium,
Belgium,
isn't
yeah,
he? Yeah,
Belgium. That's
yeah.
I meant Belgium. Yeah, sorry.
Because you got Van Dijk. Van Dijk is Netherlands, isn't he?
It is Netherlands, yeah. So, all right. So
Uh,
let's make it a three horse race then. So Van Dijk, Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne. Who deserves it?
well, I think Van Dijk he played well in defence. I mean, they drew, didn't they, with Japan?
They did, yes.
And he scored a goal. He scored a very good headed goal. He was
What
the
did Japan
complete
or
player.
Egypt?
Hmm?
Did they play Japan or Egypt? I'm just
It was
let me
Belgium
see.
versus Egypt.
Belgium,
It was
Egypt, yeah.
Egypt, yeah, yeah. Sorry, yeah,
Netherlands, Japan. Yeah.
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 No, I would give
Yeah.
it to Van Dijk because he was the complete defender come player that he's always been for Liverpool.
Okay. Um, the enforcer. What would you
Uh,
give it to?
I'll stick with Trevor's original one as well. Same Van Dijk. Yeah, captain of the Netherlands squad, played his part, led his team
Mm,
as much as they could. Obviously, they drew,
mm.
but yeah, I mean, he did get the man of the match as well during
Oh,
the
did
match.
he? Van Dijk.
So
All
yeah,
right. Well,
so
there you
yeah,
go then.
same
Yeah,
thing.
rightfully deserve that. Yeah. Now, Leicester City. I know we're in a World Cup mode, but I can't help think about Van Nistelrooy. He was there at Leicester City when he left United as interim coach, wasn't
Yeah,
he? And then Leicester City went down. I didn't know at what point did he leave Leicester City?
I think it was just near the end. I would say just before they were going to get relegated, like a
All
few
right.
matches before. It wasn't straight away after, but it was a few matches beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah. Only reason why I brought that up was because I thought about Carrick and I thought, well, when Van Nistelrooy took over as interim, he did win a few matches as well,
Did
didn't he?
yeah.
It was quite impressive. And I thought, and when they said they were going to replace him, I thought, what a shame. We could have just left the guy there. But now, I'm thinking,
Yeah, I was there for the Europa League match against Bodo Glint, and
all
he
right,
played
okay.
well. Obviously, one side where Tyrell Malacia was our weakest side, but overall, his how do you call it now? His system worked in a sense for
Did it?
us. Obviously, it didn't work at Leicester, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Bruv, please.
Yeah, I mean it's sad actually, isn't it? A team that actually won the Premier League 10 years ago has
Mm,
gone straight through, haven't they? Down to League One,
mm,
which is sad by any standards. I just hope they come back. And I just would, if I may, put a word in for the fact that Palace have got a new manager, Pierre
Yeah.
Sage, Frenchman
yeah,
from
yeah.
Lens, who's got a good CV so far. And he seems very pleased with himself to be at Palace. He's had good
Mm,
photographs taken at the ground, etc., with his shirt on and all that. I mean, I'm really pleased that Parish and the owners have appointed someone nice and early and not after the World Cup, when
Mm,
pre-season preparations should be in full swing. So,
mm,
yeah, I think and probably most Palace fans, if not all, are very pleased with this early appointment. And from looking into it, he does look to be a good fella. So, and of course, it might mean that we keep Mateta because
mm,
he's French, obviously, and Lacroix, both of whom are in the French squad.
mm,
It's obviously good for foreign players in the Premier League to have a manager who is of their own ethnicity, if you like, their own language.
mm,
So
mm,
yeah, I wish we all wish, I'm sure, Pierre Sarge well in his new role.
yeah. Now, I don't think I know much about Sarge, but we'll soon find out. Maybe he's
We
got
will.
a good profile. Now, you mentioned Mateta, and I know we've talked about France, but was he playing? I don't
No, he
remember
was on
him
the
playing.
bench. He was on the bench, and he didn't come
Yeah,
on, and nor did
yeah,
Lacroix,
yeah,
Maxence Lacroix, excellent central defender. But I'm
yeah,
sure they will both feature in French games.
yeah. Well, I hope they do. Yeah. Now, what do we make of Cucurella? Cucurella. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Mark
Yes, you are.
Cucurella
Yeah,
from Chelsea going to Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Mm.
Yeah, he's at Real Madrid now, I think. Yeah. Um, I do. I wouldn't think Real Madrid would be interested in a player like Cucurella.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I saw this game against Cape Verde
Mm.
where he played. I think it was a bit average, judging on the scoreline, solely on the scoreline anyway, which I think it was. But what do is it Madrid stuff? Is it Madrid material?
I
What do
feel
you
like
think?
mainly I think it's just to fill the quota for Spanish players because to be
Ah,
fair, um, Real Madrid, as much as they're buying players from all sorts, they don't really have like proper Spanish players playing for Real Madrid.
right.
Before they had many of them, and they have like
Mm,
a tradition after when they win the UCL, like where they get like the flag, and they do like a sway, like a ball coming through. Uh,
yeah,
that's like a tradition that only the Spanish player born can do. Like no one else can do it
right.
like, unless they're Spanish. And I kind of feel like they need at least a Spanish player in the squad because a lot of them, like obviously Mbappe's from France, Vinny's from Brazil, Bellingham's from England,
Mm,
Tchouaméni, all these like they don't really have enough Spanish players. But also, I
right.
mean, he is good in his own right, in a sense.
Mm,
He's won the Club World Cup. He's won
mm,
Champions League. Uh, was he there for when they won the Premier League? I don't know. But
mm,
regardless, in a sense, he was a backbone for Chelsea as
mm,
well,
mm,
defensively and on the wings. So he's a good player in his own right,
mm,
especially for when they won in the Euros as well. He was a big player then,
mm,
and he has made a name for himself. They've made that song that Cuckoo Correa, be careful because he's on the wings and all these things like Haaland
yeah,
is trembling and stuff like that.
yeah.
But I would not link him to Real Madrid in a sense.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah,
sense.
I'm quite surprised. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I wouldn't link him with Real Madrid. I think he
Mm,
is a good player. I mean, I was watching him the other night for Spain, and
mm,
he does get down that wing. He scampers down there. And I mean, I have a suspicion with his long hair, he gets a bit of additional lift, in the wind because he's got such an incredible hairstyle, isn't he? And he whips down that wing. He is he's actually for a fullback or wing back, he's actually quite short, which is not always an advantage, but he's got speed. He really takes off down the wing, and very often he
mm,
then cuts in and can. The ball's crossed, he head it back in for someone to put it in the goal, and that nearly
mm,
happened a few times the other day. So I don't think we should underestimate him. He was good at Brighton. That's where he was kind of noticed. and then went to Chelsea. I think he's been one of Chelsea's better players. But
Mm,
again, when I saw that Real Madrid had come for him, and it
mm,
was quite a big fee as far as I remember. But yeah, my initial reaction was surprise, and I suppose that's what happens when one of the world's big clubs, be
mm,
they Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man United, when they go for a player, you think, well, is that player good enough for them because of this great reputation? Those three teams and PSG as well,
mm.
and others, when they have this great reputation. So not anybody can go to those teams. I'm not saying Cucurella is just anybody because he's good, but I don't think I would put him in the league of Real Madrid.
No, no. I thought, sorry, and I thought, well, you know, strange things do happen in football.
They do. They do.
I thought, right. Okay, so I've got 2 minutes. Emiliano Martinez is, in my opinion, is the best goalkeeper in the world. But I know both of you will disapprove of that. What do we make of him so far?
He's
Emiliano
Argentina,
Martinez
isn't he? I mean, he won
is,
the Golden Glove in the was it the Euros? They won there, didn't they, Argentina?
World
what
Cup.
is
Well,
it,
it can't be the Euros.
2022?
It was
Yeah,
talk rubbish. Of course, not the Euros. It was the
yeah, the
22
World
World
Cup.
Cup.
World Cup,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he was obviously very good. I think he's a very good player. To me, he's a frustrating goalkeeper because he very often he'll come to the edge of one side of the penalty area with the ball at his feet, to almost tempting the attackers to come and get the ball. And of course they don't because they can be put out the game by his pass. So he does keep doing things like that. But on balance, I mean, I have to admit, I think he's a very good goalkeeper. So
Mhm.
you know. Argentina 3-0 that he didn't let any goals in. What can you say? He's a good
Yeah,
goalkeeper. I just don't
yeah.
really
I mean,
I don't really take to him personality
yeah,
wise for what
yeah.
that's worth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there's two teams that's kept a clean sheet so far. I don't know if others have joined. I think it's Scotland and what's it called? Argentina so far. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well,
Is any
also
of
Spain and Spain
Spain
and
and Cape
Cape
Verde,
Verde.
yeah.
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 there you go. Oh no,
And
I mean
South
with a
Africa.
win.
Sorry.
With a
I
win.
see.
With
Have
a
won
win.
the game. Yeah. So two
Yeah.
teams that's kept a clean sheet and won the game. I don't know. But
Mexico did. Mexico beat South
Yeah.
Africa, didn't they?
Yeah. Yep.
also Mexico, uh,
Scotland.
Argentina and Scotland. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yes. Lastly, Tony on Emiliano Martinez. Be careful though. I love him.
I'll be honest.
Like,
In a
yeah.
sense of saying, I mean, he is a good goalkeeper. I'm not saying he's the worst, but to say he's the greatest is a big stretch in a sense.
Mm,
Uh, he made that important save in the last World Cup, of course, and that was the important save that ended up helping him win. Uh,
mm,
but up to that point, no
mm,
one really cared for him.
mm.
Even like in terms of club football, he's not really the best. He's the only goalkeeper who has more own goals than anybody else in the entire history of goalkeeping, you know?
Wow. Wow.
So in that sense, this is why I don't see him as a great goalkeeper.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And when he was supposed to leave Aston Villa, well, 2 seasons ago now, uh,
Mm,
making tears out of his eyes, clapping goodbye, and there were links of him coming to Man United,
mm.
just for him to stay there, it kind of shows a bit that your ego's a bit too high, and you need
Right.
to see the bigger picture because nobody got him, and he was free. He was completely free.
Mm,
We didn't take him, and we needed a goalkeeper, and in the end, we bought Le
yeah.
Mans. And we thought Le Mans would have been the second goalkeeper for us, but in the end, he ended up being first.
Mm,
So, you mean you've got other great clubs that could have taken him for free, like Man City, Arsenal.
mm, mm,
Well, yeah, Arsenal needed a goalkeeper at the time as well, and they took
mm.
Raya over him. So it kind of shows that, yeah, he could be a good goalkeeper, but He does make a lot of mistakes, and if you
Mm.
watch a lot of the Arsenal games, you will see he is the reason why sometimes they're lacking a bit because he made a mistake. You know,
Yeah.
it's the same situation what happened in Norway versus Iraq game where the goalkeeper was just standing there for too long, and you don't stand there when Haaland is charging at you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so the same thing happened with Martinez, where he did the same situation in a sense, but it was too late because the player was already there and he put the ball in the net. So, like I said, the greatest goalkeeper of all time, no, but
No.
he is a good keeper in a sense that he has made a name for himself as a good keeper. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know Bruv don't like him because of his temperament.
He has got a temperament about him, hasn't he? And I
Yeah.
think, to be honest, it's silly of me, really, but when he won the Golden Glove at the last World Cup,
Yeah.
he was quite, well, I don't know what the word would be. He was quite
Cocky.
abusive.
Cocky.
Remember, he sort of used the glove in a way, and I just thought that was completely unnecessary. So, but I mean, hell, I mean, it's football, isn't it? I mean, these things happen in the heat of the moment, I suppose.
Mm. So yeah, so this is all we've got time for. I've been Emmy Hickens. You've been watching the. Sorry, this is all we've got time for. Join us again next week, where we discuss more matters about football, World Cup, and everything. So this is all we've got time for this week. I've been Emmy Hickens, and they call me Cuz.
And I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
And I'm Tony, and they call me the Enforcer.
Yeah, and we both call him the Enforcer. So it's a goodbye from me. Join us again next week.
Goodbye from me too.
Ah, that's
Well
it.
done.
So,
It was good.
oh,
Good.